So I just want to give a little update on the gig work and stuff. So I can't do any other apps besides DoorDash at the moment, so I just stick with that one. I do decent. Okay, make about $100 on a typical day. Good days like $250. I had a crazy day one day that was $340. Hoping for that again, but typical day I expect to walk home with $100, and then also have to pay gas and repairs on my car, that kind of thing. So I try to get the higher days. Can't really control it too much though. It really just depends. The day that I did really super well is because it rained, and it hasn't rained since. It keeps like kind of on and off sprinkling, but not enough to spark what happened last time, where just nobody wanted to drive in it because it never rains here. So I signed up for Rover, which is dog sitting, house sitting. I don't want to do cats, just dogs and house sitting. It would be nice to find some jobs that would let me stay overnight, because then I could get paid to sleep. And like, I've heard of people doing that because a lot of times you'll have to travel to the location. They're gone for 2 weeks. They would rather you be there than not be there. So you basically live in their house. They're getting paid to live in their house. And I freaking love dogs. Okay, if you know anything about me, my background, like my background is dogs. Like, I'm 26 years old. I'm pretty young, and dogs have been there since I was born, because that's something that came along with my grandparents' farm and stuff. So I've been training them for a very, very long time, and working with them and stuff. So the only issue that I might have would be with the owners. So I made my profile and everything, and it's like, if you're not approved within 2 weeks, let us know. It usually takes around 72 hours. So I'm waiting on that, but I have my profile and I have everything active. So I don't know if it being active means that once I get approved, then it'll go online, or if it's like already online. But I have my availability set for I'm available today, and so I'm hoping that something will come through. And it's kind of scary doing it for the first time. Doing DoorDash for the first time was kind of scary too, because you're doing it on your own. You're doing it independently. There's no boss. There's no one that you're checking in with, that you're talking to. It's all just an app that you download, and then you just follow the instructions and you get the money. So with Rover, I know the system is not going to be just a one time deal, unless it's just like a walk, like go for a walk. But I'm expecting to get ones that are like staying, you know what I mean, where I can like actually stay overnight, and hopefully they'll be cool to let me use their stuff, actually, because I've heard of this being like a normal thing, where it's like, I'm sure if it's just like a couple nights, they're gonna be like, please don't shower here or something like that. But if it's like a 2 week stay, and they're like, you're basically gonna be living here, and we want you to be here, we don't want you to be leaving if you don't have to. And I might be able to work that, because then if I could be basically living there, I would still, explain to them that like I still want to work full time for DoorDash, and basically just get paid for sleeping. I'm not gonna say it like that to them, but I could wake up at whatever time, go walk the dog. I could come back throughout the day to walk the dogs. I could be making stops to walk other dogs. I can make stops for DoorDash all day, and then come back in the evening and be there all night and all morning. So, that would probably be within reason. I'm not sure what the hours are, like how many hours you would have to be at the house, or if there is amount of hours, or if it's just based on per owner. But basically, it's pretty straightforward. It's a service that they're paying you for, and then Rover keeps a certain amount of it, but they are providing services and things like that. They run your background check, which you do have to pay for your background check, but they do, the background check and stuff for you, so the person knows you're legitimate. And then it also holds you accountable, that kind of thing. So I've heard of people taking their clients off of Rover once they've met them and built rapport and everything, and just go through Venmo. Um, so we'll see how that goes. I'm excited. I'm excited for it, and I'm really hoping to hear back. When I signed up for DoorDash, I was really excited for it too, and I had a gym membership, and I just kept going to the gym just over and over, and like doing all the workouts and stuff, and like showering and stuff just over and over again, like 6 times in one day I went to the gym. And I was like waiting on DoorDash, and I finally got it, and I just like kept working out at the gym, and it finally gave me an order to do for DoorDash, and then I realized how much money I was making, and then I was getting money like instantly as soon as I did the order, and I needed money instantly. That was the problem. So I started doing it, and I realized I was actually making more money than I was making at like Amazon or anywhere like that. So I had no point in like going to one of those places and asking for a job. At first I was asking them for jobs, and they're like, we're hiring, and then a bunch of people would apply, and one person would get the position, or we're hiring, a bunch of people would apply, and then no one would get the position. They would just overwork the few people that are there. So it was just like competitive. And after I became a DoorDasher, some of the places considered hiring me because they realized that I show up every day and everything, but none of them actually followed through and contacted me. A different candidate ended up getting the position every time because it's just so competitive. And so with doing this gig work, it's like I'm doing it based on my skills and stuff. So it's like if people are ordering DoorDash, I'm very committed to DoorDash, then I'm getting these orders. But then when it's kind of slow or whatever, not getting as much going on, then I'm just kind of sitting around. So if I can have a dog sitting job where I'm like hanging out with the dog at night, first of all, they'd give me a bed to sleep in, and I'd be resting better. Second of all, that would be income. That would be like basically just free money, because like some of them, like I don't know how much the rates are. I don't even know how much my rates are or what is reasonable or not reasonable. That's something I'm gonna have to review again because it's something I don't completely understand. Um, and I think it's just something I'll have to try out and see how it works out, because the way I see it is the cost of staying in a hotel would be however much money. You know what I mean? Or the cost of renting an apartment would be however much money. So I don't have that kind of money, but I could get paid to stay the night in people's homes. So whatever amount that they're giving me, honestly, in my mind, I've justified it because it's like that's not my full-time job. Doing DoorDash is my full-time job. So I'm not really too worried about it, but I've heard about people making a lot of money off of doing Rover, and I think that has a lot more to do with boarding, where the dog stays at your house, because then you could be doing that and you could be working from home or whatever while you're taking care of the dogs. Obviously, I mean, you can have dogs and work from home and they're taken care of. So the service is for people who are on vacation with Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up. I'm hoping I'll get clients. Um, I'm kind of just nervous about it because a lot, could go down, but hopefully it works out pretty well. I have some like hope that I'll find some good clients, and I have some people like in my mind, not that I know, but like types of people in my mind that I want to be like searching for intentionally. Um, Definitely want to avoid the Karens and stuff, but like um, the types of dogs that might not necessarily, mm, I don't know, like the bigger dogs. Like I'm totally cool with the bigger dogs. Like I've seen a lot of walkers where they're like, they'll do bigger dogs, but then they ask the owner, like, is the dog gonna pull? Is it gonna go chasing after a squirrel or whatever? Like, for me, part of my job is I could train them. Like, unless they are a vicious dog and don't need to be working with a rover person anyways, I can train them. I can leash train them. So that's part of my skill set that I'm bringing to the table, is that I can train them to use a leash, and I am gonna require my clients to have um, what are they called? Harnesses. And that's going to be something that we're probably going to argue about, because some people are very stubborn and they're just going to say, no, we always just use a collar. And no matter how much I tell them, like, this hurts the dog, this isn't good, or whatever, it's not going to really get through to them. I'm sure they've heard it before, anyways. So I'll recommend using a harness. If they are like, no, then I will just find a different client, because it seems like in this market you have that freedom. It seems like there's probably more competition trying to find a sitter than there is competition trying to be a sitter. So for me, it's a lot of perks. It's a lot of benefits. If the people are real cool and laid back and like, yeah, come live in our house, use our shower, like cook in our kitchen, like do whatever you want, take care of the dog, and we'll pay you a little bit of money. Hell yeah, you know what I mean? Like I can do whatever. Like, I'm pretty good with dogs. Like, and I think that's something that I might have to like gain some video footage of and some testimonies of to like help build my client base. But I think more importantly than like the right client base or big enough client base, because I mean, I'm only one person. I can only do one, like so many dogs at a time. You know what I mean? So it's not like I could like board dogs in my house and have like 3 or 4 dogs like at my house while I'm going to like walk other dogs or something. Like some people do that, or like they'll have 2 people working together. Um, it's just me. So I'm cool with like same day schedule changes and stuff because like I do DoorDash full time, so it's like it gives me the offer and that's my notification to go do it. So if you can contact me and set expectations of time frame and stuff and whatever needs to be done, if it's just a walk or something or if it's like a full on house sitting job. I'm hoping to get, like I said, house sitting jobs. So I'm looking for a certain type of client, and I think that in this area, it's very likely that I'm gonna find work because, I mean, just based on how much people order DoorDash and Instacart and all the other like apps and stuff, like I didn't even think about Rover. Like, I don't know why I didn't think about that, but like dogs are like totally my passion, and I'd been doing this other gig work, been doing DoorDash or whatever, and now I'm like, I'm gonna get on Rover, so. I want to do that. I really, really want to do that because it would be fun. It'd be so much fun. And like, I love dogs. I love running around with dogs. I'm very active. I'm very like, I can play with them, wrestle with them. Like, I can teach them like tricks and stuff. Every dog has different temperament. Every dog is willing to do different things. So, I just I like hanging out with dogs. And I've fostered a lot of dogs. I've helped rescue a lot of dogs. And as far as, oh my gosh, having dogs of my own, I don't currently have dogs of my own because I live in my car right now. So the dogs I had, I fostered to family members, to my uncle, and so he has my 3 babies that had not ever found a forever home. So I guess in a way that is their forever home, right? Because they were the ones like stuck with me, but the rest of them like I fostered out, and like unfortunately some of them did get incredibly sick and pass away by the time we had done anything about it. So what happened was he had gotten into like fungus or something and it got into his lungs, and it was super rare. The vet had never seen it before in a case that was like that bad, but we didn't know how bad it was because he didn't have any symptoms or anything. He wasn't coughing or anything like that. So we didn't know. I just taken him into the vet for just a checkup, and he was like discovered this and said, it's like really advanced, and we gave him medication, tried to pull him through, but he didn't pull through, which was unfortunate. He was a small little guy who was just not fed whole not enough before he came to us. So whenever he got to us, we were trying to help him recover from that, and then we were trying to get him on worm medication. That's what I take him to the vet for, was to get him tested for worms and to get him on worm medication. And then we discovered that. So it was like he was underweight, he had worms, and he had this infection that was like super advanced, and all that together just was not good. So he ended up passing away. Some of them age out, they end up making it into their like elderly, then they pass away from, sometimes they fall or have an accident or get hit by a car or something like that, being on a farm. But a lot of times the dogs do find new homes and we just adopt them out. Um, Other farmers and stuff in the area usually need good farm dogs. So the dogs that they rescued came from people just in the area that had dogs that couldn't take care of them anymore, so they would just dump them out in the woods, which was basically the back of our farm, and the dogs would come up, or we would find them out there, we would rescue them. And then the 3 dogs that I had left with my uncle, they are all foster dogs. I had one of them, he was of a puppy litter that we had found under a shed, and we got the mom into a shelter and the babies all adopted out like immediately. Like they were not supposed to be away from their mother, but the only really options that we had were to go ahead and adopt them out because um, the shelter couldn't take the puppies, and none of us could take care of the mom. So we had to split them up, and the babies had to be bottle fed, and they were all like taken to different places. I'm not sure where the dog came from. The house was owned by an elderly couple, and the dog was abandoned. It wasn't their dog. It was none of the neighbors' dogs. Nobody knows where it came from. So it was just one of those freak things. So I kept one of them, and then another one of my dogs is from my grandparents that he came from a litter of puppies at some point, and he's like elderly now, so nobody really would want an elderly dog, so we've not ever been successful in fostering him out. And then the other one is pit mix. I don't know. They're all mixed. Like they're all mixed breeds, because they're all rescues and they all just kind of come from random places. It seems like whenever people don't get their dogs fixed and then they abandon them somewhere. However, dogs are not meant to survive in the wild. That's something that a lot of people believe, but that is not true. We've domesticated them, and they are completely dependent on us for their survival. If they are abandoned in the woods, just like a small child, they'll probably get eaten or starve to death. So they're not really equipped to survive on their own. And they're pack animals, so as a part of their family, you're a part of their pack, part of their like tribe that they see every day. And having just one dog, I think, can be stressful for the dog because it can be confusing. I would recommend having multiple dogs. However, I understand that like every situation's different. It's not the end of the world if you don't have multiple dogs. It'd be a good idea to like get your dog a friend at least if there's only one dog in the house. Um, and yeah, my experience with dogs has been just training them, fostering them out. Like I said, I can do like leash work and stuff, but they gotta wear a harness. Gotta wear a harness. I don't do collars. Um, I'll I'll turn away clients if they're insistent on a collar. They can find someone else, but I'm not doing it. So hopefully this goes well. You know, another thing I'm kind of picky about is food, is dog food. If these clients, they have enough money to hire a babysitter for their dog while they're on vacation. You know what I mean? Um, Hopefully they're buying their dog edible food. So I really hope I don't go in there and it's like it's not, it might be scammy type stuff. It might be stuff that's like it is expensive, but it's like no better than the cheap stuff. So I'm not sure how I'm gonna address that and how I'm gonna like speak to them about the food and stuff because there's really only a few like high-end brands, and I don't want to seem pretentious and be like, oh, you need to be feeding your dog farmer's dog food, or you need to be feeding them like this higher quality food, because I understand that like when I had dogs and I was doing my rescue and stuff, we did Old Roy, and that's affordable, but it seemed to keep them alive. And pedigree would go in between the two, so they'd have some different stuff. And then um but I know like certain brands and stuff, even though they're more expensive, they can be bad. They can cause digestive issues, they can cause all kinds of problems. So I think dog food in general is a scam. I think making your dog food is like a better option. But people don't, they're not going to do that. I think that if they would make dog food for people, people would buy it. You know what I mean? If you just like pour a bowl of like cereal or something for like every meal, and that would be considered like nutritious, I think people would do that, right? But like we don't have that. Like dog food for people, that would be good. But yeah, so I don't want to like nitpick people too much, but I'm kind of hoping to find like clients that do a little bit better for their dogs, just because, like, and it's like I don't want to try to like I don't want to abandon the dogs that need help. I don't want to face a client that feeds their dog shit food or something, but just like walk away, not say anything. But like at the same time, like I know people aren't gonna change. You know, like they have their opinions, they're set in their ways. So I'll probably like politely bring it to their attention at bare minimum, but definitely walk away from them like as a client and just try to find people who have like a higher standard of how they train their dogs and treat their dogs. I'm fine with like whatever like schedules or whatever the dog has to follow, but those are my two pet peeves: is the collar and the dog food. As far as medication goes, I don't want to be responsible for administering medication. However, I do understand that I'm looking for places that I can stay at for like weeks at a time. So it would be difficult to say no to that. But I don't want to be like in this position where the dog isn't taking the medication or something, and it needs the medication and it would be done better by the parents or something. So if they could figure out something else, because I don't want to go to war over like I know how dogs can be with their medication or whatever, and so um, yeah, as far as that goes, like I'm not really comfortable with that. So I guess that's something I'll just have to get used to, because if they're gone for multiple weeks, the dog's gonna probably need something. So yeah, that's something I need to work on, is my profile and stuff, and hopefully I get approved. Last time I signed up for a gig job was DoorDash, and by doing this, I'm making like however much money per order, but doing this dog sitting thing, I'll be making however much money like per offer. And I've got everything set up except for dog boarding in my house, because obviously I can't do that. So I'm willing to stay at their house. I'm willing to drop in for walks. Um, uh, I don't remember what the third one is. I think it's like stay at your house is like two different versions, daytime and nighttime. Um, it's super fast, the process of getting everything set up. And you do have to submit some photos of yourself with a dog. So I pulled some from like hella long ago when I was in high school, because I don't have any recent pictures of me with the dog. But yeah, gig work is working out for me kind of, because I mean, people pay for this stuff. Like when I was working at Amazon, I don't know, it just felt like I was doing more work for less money. But doing gig work, it's like you're working for yourself. You're your own boss. You're making deals with people. Like, even for DoorDash, it's like I'm getting paid from the restaurant. So basically, like with DoorDash, how it works is um, the restaurant pays DoorDash. So, like, if you're delivering for Chili's, Chili's is paying DoorDash. And if you're set on your time, they're going to be there, and not per offer, because you need to be set on your time that you're going to be there. So, your time that you're working, so they give you the order, Chili's is paying you, right? Like, they're responsible for you. And then there's things that DoorDash will like reimburse you for and stuff, like, and then they can get reimbursements from the restaurant because they had to make you wait. And then once you pick the order up from the restaurant, you're on DoorDash's time, and then they pay you for that time to get to the customer, and then the customer can tip you. So I try to get as much of the restaurant's time as I possibly can. Because, like, for example, if I was working at Chili's, I would come into work, clock in, and go take a shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how I am. So whenever I'm doing these DoorDash things, I do that. I shit on company time, because I'm at the store, so I'm on McDonald's time, I'm on Taco Bell's time, I'm on whoever's time. As long as it's not a mom and pop shop, I'm taking that time. You know what I mean? Because that's what we employees, I think, are entitled to do from these massive corporations that are just gobbling up dollars and dollars like it's nothing. So like, what's a few minutes here and there that's gonna bulk up my pay a little bit and benefit me physically. So it kind of feels like a little boy working in the warehouse, or living in the warehouse. Like I'm living in the like work environment all the time, especially like being in my car all the time too. So anyways, yeah, gig work so far. I'm on one app, DoorDash, and I've applied for my second app, Rover, and I fingers fucking crossed on Rover. Fingers fucking crossed. So excited, because like, what if it worked out? That'd be so cool. That'd be so cool. Anyways, I'm getting hungry again, so I'm gonna go get more to eat, and then I'm gonna come do more door dashing about, because that's just easy cash.